at that. I think it's helped sort out some of the confusion, even though we've adopted to take all our newer hybrids and make them the same weight as an iron. I hope that helps, Bill.
And if it doesn't, Bill, just type something in there. Okay, John asks, what is your suggested orientation for the spine of the shaft?
That one's hard to answer because I don't know how you're measuring the spine. I would almost need to know the type of device that you're using and maybe even a picture, because one, it's going to confuse a lot of people without seeing that. You can email me and I could probably tell you that information if you gave a picture or a diagram.
All right, good. Frank is the gentleman who asked about the clubs being shipped overseas. He says, thank you. That said, what are the most common root causes of club head loosening, generally in the first few rounds of service?
It's a bad epoxy joint. Someone didn't prep the shafts well, or didn't use an adequate amount of epoxy or care and installing the clubs, or again, they got too hot in transit, which would be rare. It really comes down to the surface prep, and also whether the epoxy was mixed correctly or not, or if it was epoxy that was designed for golf club installation.
Great. Okay, Hunter asks, I noticed that most shaft tips don't fit into the club head too snug. I guess the epoxy fills a lot of the space left in, but is it worth using shims to fill that space?
Shims, probably not, because usually we're only talking a couple thousandths of an inch per side on the shaft, which is perfectly acceptable. If the shafts were exactly the same size as the hosel, there would be no room for the epoxy. In lieu of shims, it might be better to use shafting beads, which are like small granular pellets that you can add to the epoxy, and it acts as filler material. But if you have to use shims, then there's something wrong with the shaft, because usually the shims are going to be much wider than the gaps you would ever see in the hosels and shafts.
Okay, Louis asked, will these slides be available online? And I can answer that real brief. Everything that we're doing right now is being recorded, and it will be on youtube.com/Hireko Golf. That's youtube.com/Hireko Golf, or just go to YouTube and just search for Hireko. Everything will be there, and it'll probably be there within the next couple of hours. But you can also download the slides by going to our website. If you just want to just download the slide portion without the audio, if you go to the club making portion of our site, look down on one of the banners, and it says Build Better Clubs Now, view our webinars, and that'll also be up in the next couple of hours. Okay, so David asks, assuming two different drivers with the same BBGM but the hosel lengths are different, does the insertion depth affect the flex of the shaft?
It does, but it would be, unless it was a lot longer or a lot shorter, would you ever notice it? The bottom of board, a ground line measurement would probably have a greater influence, but obviously if you had a hosel that was 4 inches long, just none exists like that, obviously that would make the shaft stiffer, but in most cases we're only talking 1/4 inch or so, which isn't really probably enough to worry about.
All right, good. All right, this is from Chick, and he asks, how would you determine if someone needs a soft trim or a hard trim from the recommended trim directions?
Usually that's going to come from fitting, and it'll come from fitting using like a demo club that you might have and know how much you trimmed from the shaft and so forth. And that's how you make your determination. If the customer says, I like the shaft, it was good, but it just feels a little bit too stiff, then you can alter your tip trimming. But you have
All
to
right,
have a
good.
baseline first. So.
All right. All right, folks, wrap it up here. If anybody else has any more questions, wrap it up here. If anybody else has any more questions, feel free. You'll have about 20 more seconds here, and then we'll have to shut it off. Just a reminder, 15% off of all True Ace Cadence shafts for the next 48 hours using coupon code 649. And I think that may be it, Jeff. You have anything else left to say?
No, but thanks for everybody for attending.
Actually, here they come again.
No.
Hunter asks, do shaft extenders affect flex?
Well, flex is determined by length and head weight, so indirectly it does. However, let's say you miscut a shaft from the butt end and wanted to lengthen it back to where it should have been because you made a mistake and you're trying to fix it, then it has no ill effects on it. But anytime you change length, you do change flex.
All right, good. Okay, guys, also be on the lookout in about another hour or so with a link to the recording of all of this webinar. Once again, this is going to be on youtube.com/HirikoGolf, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.